Beautiful. Hey, man, thank you so much for your time.
No
I,
problem.
I I really appreciate you taking time to be here, and it's an honor, man. Yeah. So
Okay.
how are you doing this week?
It's really good. It's really good. It's really exciting.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
exciting time at btrax, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool, man. What have you guys been up to this week?
It's a crunch time.
Yeah.
Um, Typically the month of March is really crunch time for any businesses with Japanese companies because
Mhm.
that's the end of fiscal year. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting to know. I just learned a little bit about Japanese culture.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I just wanted to say again, thanks for being here and taking time.
Mhm.
In the next 25, 30 minutes, we're going to talk about marketing, entrepreneurship, technology, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so, I had originally reached out to you on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
just because I'm interested in btrax and what you guys are doing.
Okay.
So let's dive in, man. I've got a couple of questions
Sure.
to start with, if you don't mind.
No problem.
All right, man. So yeah, you founded btrax back in 2004, right?
That's correct.
Um,
Yeah.
but what's interesting here is that you got started in 1999 as a freelance web designer,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true.
right?
Yeah.
So back in the day, man. That's back in the Dreamweaver day, right? Doing web design.
Yeah, that's back in Notepad era.
Right. That's right. Even prior to Dreamweaver day. That's awesome. That's great,
Yeah.
man. So, dude, I would love to know, a little bit more about your journey, and
Okay.
starting in '99 all the way up to 2022, and just fill in the gap there.
Okay. So I was born and raised in Japan, a place called Hokkaido, and it's a northern island of the country.
Mhm.
And my dad is American. He came to Japan after Vietnam War,
Mhm.
and he met my mother there. And then I was there until um, graduating high school. So I was supposed to go to college there, but I could not simply because the exams are really tough.
Mhm.
So I kind of like flew out of the country and landed San Francisco back in 1997 to basically get into college in this country.
Mhm.
So I started going to community college in I think 1998.
Mhm.
And if you know that time, everyone was talking about .com something, .com business,
Right.
.com boom, sort of.
Mhm.
And then so naturally I started studying computer science and multimedia design, and I was into music. So at the
Mhm.
time, my main focus was music, but I just realized that I have more talent in design and art than music. So I quickly shifted towards digital computer graphics, graphic design.
Mhm.
And then soon after I started taking some courses, I decided to become a freelance designer, simply because I'm so passionate about the field. Regardless of what sort of skills I had back then, I didn't
Mhm.
really care about it. I just put the whatever necessary skills on my resume, regardless of whether I have them or not. So the couple freelance gigs I got back then was backend programming and basic web design gigs. And then, so 1999, you said was when I was still in school, college, but
Yeah.
I already started working for a couple of companies as freelance designers. And
Mhm.
I had this huge dream of becoming a rock star web designer back then because web design was the thing.
Yeah.
And everyone was making like a six-figure right out of college or even dropping out of college
Yep.
because .com was crazy. And I had a huge prospect of making a whole lot of money after college, making a whole lot of websites. Um, it didn't go that way. It's the as you know, the history of Silicon Valley. All of a sudden, everything was gone. Everything was gone. Not only you cannot get a job. Most people got hired by those tech companies, got laid off. So I didn't have much experience. More experienced designers got laid off. So there's no way I can get a job. So I came up with the second option of starting my own design company because I really wanted to keep doing design. I think I did have an option to say working for Starbucks, maybe.
Yeah.
I couldn't even think about it. I didn't have any other options but to keep doing design.
Yeah.
The only remaining option I had was to start a design company in order to be unemployed person.
Yes.
So that's how I started the company.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
priority one, keep a job, right?
Yeah.
Priority two, do what you want, do what you love, right? Which is design.
Right.
That's great, man. Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
One of the things that I love talking about in these interviews is the entrepreneurship and what you learned through the journey. I mean, I definitely want to talk about btrax and what you guys are doing in the Japanese market and how you're helping U.S. brands do that. But I'd love to dig in a little more about the entrepreneurship of it. When did you know that you wanted to be a founder, wanted to be a CEO? Just a moment ago, you mentioned that you knew you wanted to stay in design and you wanted to be self-employed. Was that sort of the beginning of it?
So to answer that question, I would say I've never imagined becoming an entrepreneur or CEO.
Yeah.
I never thought about it, actually. I took no business classes in college, no marketing classes. I had zero interest in starting my own business. So naturally, I failed so many times running a company, meaning like btrax exists, fortunately. Through the process, through the journey, I made so many mistakes. I think the first one was, I think it was in second year, 2005. I think it was 2005 or 6. Right after I started this company, all the employees were gone in like 6 months time frame. Simply because I was just a designer, not a business person, not a CEO at all. Even though my title was CEO, I did nothing about running a business. So that was the first realization that I do need to learn. I do need to grow in order to retain this company, survive in the market. So I kind of like learned becoming a CEO by doing it, by making a lot of mistakes. They all hurt. It was tough, but that was the only way I could grow.
Yeah. I can notice the sincerity in your voice when you talk about making mistakes and hurting. So it seems very vivid and real for you.
Absolutely.
Would you mind sharing just one experience in the last 17 years that has taught you a lot? Specifically failing. We need a case study here.
There are so many mistakes. So the biggest cause of losing employees back then was I did not do a great job recognizing people and evaluating them fairly. So I made a huge mistake of being fair is paying every person the same amount of money, which I did. So obviously the best performing employee left the company first because he thought that was not fair. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm fair because I'm paying you guys the same amount of money. You're working 40 hours a week, same. So I try to be as fair as possible. This is my way of being fair to you guys. And the best performing employee left first, and the least performing employee left the last, but they all left anyway.
Yeah, man, definitely not the effect that you thought it would have, I guess.
Not at all. And by the way, I was not paying myself, so I was more like, you know what, like I'm not getting paid, so you should not complain about this because I'm not. it doesn't matter to them. Yes. I know it doesn't matter to them at all. I did not realize it. I did not realize it at that time. So that was a huge mistake.
Yeah, that's a really, really good insight, man. I'm glad that you're able to explain it so well. Yeah. So let's talk about btrax for a second. What you guys do. So you guys specialize in handling, helping brands. You guys specialize in helping brands successfully enter the Japanese market. But you guys go about it. Let's just say this: you guys go way above like translating marketing material, right? There's really 4 ways that I saw in my research that you guys provide services, and that is, research of your product market fit, brand localization, and then you guys also specialize in the Japanese market entry, and then growth marketing once they're in the market. Does that sound pretty accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah. So, how long did it take you guys to really come up with that library of services? Did you specialize in one first?
I would say so. We keep revising our line of services every, I would say, 3 years.
Okay.
Because the market moves so fast, we need to keep up with that. In order to do that, the only thing you could do is keep inventing yourself, sort of. I would not say innovating, but like at least reinventing the services. Keep pressing reset buttons every once in a while. And the current services that we provide, we finalized them about 4 years ago, I guess. It's about time to refresh it now, I guess. So we started as web design studio first. Not related to Japan at all, just plain vanilla web design studio. And they turned out that the field got so competitive. One of my mentors told me that we should find the unfair advantage. That was my Japanese background. So I started shifting the service model from web design company to web design and localization company, US and Japan. So that's the first step. And then it turned out that web design was not quite enough to retain more than a few people in the company, because web design became so commoditized, sort of. So we added this marketing component to it. And we also started adding branding components to it. And then we kept working with customers and keep asking them what exactly they need. The current line of services was designed a few years ago based on the needs that our clients say.
Wow. So you just asked your customer base,
exactly,
what do you want? And they told you.
It's more like what are their pains.
Yes. Yeah. That's great. I love it. Just ask them and they'll tell you, right?
Yeah.
Sure. It's real interesting. On the client side, btrax helps the client all the way through the journey. At least that's what it looks like, right? And then on the consumer side, you guys are really customer-centric focused. And I love that. It's like, let's do the product market fit. And so you start with the consumer and what they want, right? They're in Japan. And then you're looking at brand localization, but it all starts with the consumer and what they want, which is beautiful. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So the one unique thing about this company is that we provide slightly different services to Japanese companies and non-Japanese companies. To Japanese companies, we do a lot of workshops, and our clients want to learn the concept of design thinking, user-centered design, lean startup. And those are all kind of like a Silicon Valley methods, people say. And it's to me, it's a really natural thing. Like, you really need to understand the users before designing your services.
Yeah.
However, many Japanese companies are really traditional mindset. They make great products and they do market those products. However, at some point, maybe 20 years ago or so, they lost track of understanding global audience users. So they became so tech-centric companies. And now they want to learn about how they can be more customer-centric companies. And we just apply that concept to ourselves.
Yeah.
So it comes naturally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. When do you feel it's time to shift from, let's say product market fit and, you guys feel like you have enough research to just go ahead and launch into, localization? When does that take place?
Oh, that's a really tricky question. Are you asking me about the well, what sort of like signals or reactions?
So do you does the client give you a green light and say, you know what, we feel like we're ready?
Oh, I see. We do a whole lot of user testing, user interviews, focus groups, and survey.
Great.
And the first thing we do on every single project is this user and market discovery phase.
Okay.
And through the process, we talk to potential customers, at least like 20 of them, and get honest feedback on their needs. And when we find out if there is product market fit, then we talk with the client to move to the next steps. Or we try to adjust their values and target markets and their messaging to align what they offer with the market and customers.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of brands will sort of do it backwards. They'll either provide or introduce their product or service to the marketplace, right? They'll find out that it's not working well. They don't understand why. They go back to the drawing board, make some changes, and then reintroduce it, right? And it's like, there has to be that iteration process of product market fit. You can't figure it all out and then go launch and then everything is just rainbows and candy, right? But it should start with research. It should start with understanding the customer's pain points.
I think you touched a really good point here. The funny thing is, as long as you try to adjust your products to the market, you're doing a good job. You're fine. In many cases, we have seen is that, say, we interview 20 people, for example, and then we inform the client, hey, their feedback was not that positive. So let's try to figure out what we should change. There are a lot of clients told us to find another set of potential customers because they thought the first 20 people are not the right customers for them. So they just tell it like, oh, no, we just need to find the right people to talk to. They're just not the appropriate people.
I love it. Yeah.
They're not our target audience. It turned out they're not our target audience. So maybe we should try getting different kind of people to interview first. They try to get positive feedback. So they keep moving on to, okay, next group. Next group. No, it's not next group. And a lot of companies do that. And they call it marketing. And they say, marketing is about finding the customers. Our reaction is no, marketing is to make sure your product fits the market.
Yes, absolutely. That's good. That's really good. It's like shooting the bow and arrow and then painting the target around the arrow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's really good stuff. Yeah. Did you want to say more about that?
No, that's really typical scenario that we sometimes get frustrated whenever customers say either they become so subjective about decision-making process. Whenever they start saying, oh, we actually like this, or this is our favorite ideas, it's a red flag. Or whenever they start saying, we are not talking to the right right audience here.
Yeah, that's a really good point. What is, let's say, what is your favorite type of client? Let's say someone who has a service or a product, which seems to be easier for you guys to work with.
It doesn't matter. What we care more is whether they're open-minded and flexible, open to learn new things.
Yeah.
More often than not, many U.S. clients are really, I would say, arrogant and stubborn on their products and services, which may be like the way of expressing their passion. At the same time, sometimes they get really inflexible about adjusting their products and services based on different market audience.
Yes.
And then we have seen so many times US companies try to squeeze their product into a wrong shaped hole, meaning different markets.
Yes.
I think Uber is a good, Uber is not one of our clients, by the way. So Uber, as far as I've seen, Uber tried to get into the Japanese market a long time ago. I think it was like 10 years ago, only to realize there is not much need for car sharing or ride sharing there, because there's so many taxis. You can find taxis no problem anywhere. And those drivers are so nice and professional. Yeah. There's no point of getting Uber instead of taxi. Yeah. And I think they spent like 5 years spending millions of dollars just to find out, well, Japan needs something else. So their main service model now there is Uber Eats, which works absolutely fine. They're killing everything. It's absolutely working out. But it took them about 5 years just to realize ride sharing is not a thing in Japan. Yeah. I was researching and found out the same thing about South Korea. There's just no need. Huge number of taxis and taxi services that are already very competitive. It's just not a good market. And by the way, I can attest to the Japanese taxi drivers, extremely nice. I've been to Japan several times. Okay. And one, I missed my flight heading to the airport because I couldn't find an ATM to pay the taxi driver. And this taxi driver gave me a ride for free. I was blown away. It was expensive. Wow. I mean, it was very expensive. He just gave it for free. I was like, wow, amazing. So yeah, very interesting. I could talk about product market fit all day long. It's so interesting. And you mentioned, you get a lot of resistance when trying to ask your clients to be flexible in this idea. And I think a lot of it is that we're really in love with our products and services, and we assume that everyone would love them as much as we do. And we spend, 8, 10, 12 hours a day thinking about our products, improving our products and services. And it becomes very difficult for us to flip our, shut that part of our brain off and think about what the prospect wants and what they need. But the best thing we can do is go ask them. And so it's almost like, some of these really successful companies, they thrive because they're in love with their customer base. They're in love with customer service, and they've built their entire company purely on customer service, and which is just simply a feedback loop of, what do you want? Let me provide that for you. How does that feel? How does that look? How does that taste? How does that smell? Oh no, not what you wanted. Let me go back and make another iteration until they get it right. And then people are just in love. And of course their profits soar and their name gets everywhere. So, but yeah, this idea of going into the marketplace, asking them what they want, making it, coming back and asking, it seems to be the holistic way of going about it. So I wanted to talk about that because I noticed that your very first line of service is research, product market fit. Let's see what people say. It's so funny. It cracks me up when you tell me about these stories of people saying, let's find another, another group. Let's get some other answers. That wasn't what we were looking for. Yeah. It's such a common scenario. Great. So let's see here. You've already shared a little bit about your experience failing. When do you feel like was let's say your first moment when you realized, this thing's working, there's success in this.
Was it 2 years in, 5 years in, 10 years in?
It actually was 2 years in
Yeah.
when we got this first large project from Expedia.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
When Expedia expanded to Japan.
Mhm.
And back then, obviously they're in Seattle. They are in Seattle now, still. And when I found this Craigslist job posting ad saying, we are looking for Japanese speaking web designer, copywriter, marketing, single person for that.
Amazing.
And I emailed them, hey, you're not going to be able to find single person for that. However, you should be able to find single agency, which is btrax, can handle everything you are looking for. And they signed a deal, and I was like, oh, this really works.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long was that relationship, if you don't mind me asking? How long was the project?
I think that went for like 3 years.
Wow.
It was supposed to be 6 months gig. They kept extending the contract until they established a local office with enough amount of people to take care of everything by themselves.
Wow.
Yeah,
Dude, that's huge. That's a huge story, right? I mean, that's such a success story.
So that's the flip side of that coin, is this disaster of losing everybody, because everybody knows how much we made, the revenue.
Yep.
And they know how little they make from the company, and they see the gap.
Yes.
But what they don't see is, so say, for example, if the company makes $1 million revenue, if there are 5 people, every person says, oh, I'm supposed to get 200K because we have 5 people.
Yeah.
The company made $1 million.
Yeah.
How come you don't pay us 20K each?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I don't think that's the way we should do. and you know, then everything went mess and crazy. I couldn't explain why. And that was tough. Yeah.
You're right. That is the flip side of that story.
Yeah.
Something about me. I really love to read. I love this, the studying entrepreneurship and studying business. I've got a few books here. This is bookshelves dedicated to just entrepreneurship. Do you have any favorite books that you've read over the years that you would like to share?
So I really like Guy Kawasaki. And I like his Reality Check book. It's kind of like a collection of his blog articles talking about the reality of startup lives and entrepreneurs. And it's so realistic and it's so relatable, and it really helps me understand everything does not go as planned, and it is okay.
Yes.
Being messy is a part of the thing, and entrepreneur doesn't have to be perfect. Entrepreneurship doesn't have to be glamorous. It can be really, how do I say, not rock star type of thing. It's really tedious.
Yes.
And it really helps me understand. It takes patience, perseverance, and time. So that's one of my favorite books. Yeah,
that's good. I've heard someone say that, real success isn't sexy. Right? It's putting in the time and the effort and the stress and all of that. Robert Kiyosaki, and that was one of the first. I think that was one of the first five books that I read on that, on the topic of entrepreneurship. Rich Dad Poor Dad was a pretty big one. That's where he got his wings. I think it's where he got famous. Anyway.
Another one is, I totally forgot his name. Can't believe it. Entrepreneurship Roller Coaster. Famous guy, entrepreneur. A friend of mine gave me the book, and I read the book. It was cool, like a roller coaster. Like entrepreneurship is riding a roller coaster, and it's just a matter of how you enjoy or not. So there are a couple of ways to ride a roller coaster. I hate riding roller coasters simply because I resist. And the book says, it's going to be a roller coaster anyway. You might as well enjoy it. It goes up, it goes down, it goes sideways, it flips around. That's all part of the enjoyment of riding a roller coaster.
Yes.
And as long as you're doing this, you're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So you might as well do this.
Yes. Yeah. It's all about your posture, right?
Yeah.
So that book is by Darren Hardy. I just looked it up. Darren Hardy.
I think so. Yeah.
Entrepreneur Roller Coaster.
Yeah. I think he's a San Francisco local, so I can relate to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a local? Where?
San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, San Francisco. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Let me ask you one last question here, because I know I'm trying to be sensitive of your time. One last question. What is one entrepreneurial concept that you like, philosophy, one entrepreneurial philosophy that you use every day?
So it's dumb simple. It's almost funny. So when I decided to start a company, I read a couple of books, Dale Carnegie and Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
And a book by Napoleon Hill, Think Rich, I forgot the title of it.
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, exactly.
I have that,
the classic.
Mm-hmm.
There's a single line saying, winner never quits, quitter never wins. So no matter what, you make millions of mistakes. As long as you keep going forward, at some point you hit success. So every day I think, I'm not going to give up.
Right. That's good.
I'm not going to give up today, only today. Next day, I tell myself, I'm not going to give up this one day. And this keeps going last 17 years. Yeah. Every single day. I'm not going to, for a day, only one day, I'm not going to give up.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. It continues.
Yeah. That's such a good mindset. And you mentioned Dale Carnegie.
Yeah. Dale Carnegie is good. Yeah. I love his books too.
I'm literally reading it right now. It's a good one. I'm in chapter 2. So I got to.
First time?
What's that? Yeah. First time to read.
Oh my God. Yeah. I read that book at least 5 times.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's really good so far. It's excellent. Yeah. So Brandon, man, it's been a great time speaking with you, man, over the last 30 minutes.
Definitely. Absolutely.
I really appreciate your time. Like I said, taking time.
Anytime.
Out of your day. Anytime. So, all right, man. Well, I wish you success through btrax, and I'll follow you online. Keep in touch through social media.
Sure.
And hope to see you in the news with lots more success, man.
I really hope so. I really hope the news is good news.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's right. That's right. It's not all of it's good, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, my friend, you have a good weekend, and have a good one, man. Bye-bye.